Meet Rob Nelson, talk show host.
Because you got the 70s thing going there. I got someone's underwear.
Robert Kennedy, thanks for taking a minute. Simple question.
Tucker, it's good to see you. Listen,
You're a Bitcoin maximalist. You're Bitcoin forever.
I hate this central bank digital currency.
Hey, I don't have all the answers, but together, I know we can find them.
Down in competition in the ratings grab for late night weekend viewers.
hey everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome to Rob Nelson Live. All right, I'm wearing a Legends Live Forever hat today. It's actually white, but it looks blue. Because I don't know why I'm wearing it. One reason is I'm going for a little bit the lighter hats because I got to lighten up my background behind me. But I also think it's an interesting idea that legends live forever. And if you think about it, it's certainly true in a way, right? I mean, if you think of like, Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe, even James Dean, like they live forever. Those are like modern day, quote, legends, right? James Dean, I mean, think about it. The guy died in his like mid-20s. Maybe he was in his late 20s. I don't think so. I mean, his best movie hadn't come out yet, right? I mean, Giant hadn't come out. I mean, it'd been made. He died before he was going to be famous. Everyone knew that, and then he became famous once he died. Would he have been famous if he hadn't died? I mean, think of all the rock stars. The Jim Morrisons, the Kurt Cobain's, Nirvana. The 27-year thing. How legendary would they be if they lived? I don't know. And then you've got like the Rolling Stones, who still are alive and playing in their 80s. They're legendary. And I'm just talking pop culture. I'm not even getting to whatever. You want to go religious? Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad. I guess, legends in that way live forever. Political, same story in a way. Even in our country, John F. Kennedy will always live forever as a legend. And I was thinking about him the other day. He was, 45 when he died. I'm older than that. A lot of you might be. Now, some of you are younger, but if you're even in your 30s, and he'd only been president for 3 years, right? He died in November of 63, and he was, he took office in January of 61. Was elected at the end of 60. He'd been in office like under 3 years. And think what's compacted in those 3 years of what we now look at. I'm not saying every one of you is a political junkie and, knows the whole story of Kennedy, but certainly the Camelot, certainly Jackie Kennedy, certainly the cultural explosion, not to mention we all know the assassination and the endless decades of conspiracy theory, which I have said I believe is it's not a conspiracy. I mean, there was a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy theory that there was a conspiracy to kill Kennedy. There was. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, sidebar to that. Even that we almost went to nuclear war, with, the standoff with Soviet, missiles going into Cuba 90 miles off our shore. And, Kennedy and Khrushchev, the, premier of the Soviet Union, going head to head, and down to the wire. And a lot of people say we almost did have a nuclear war. Back in those days, you'd think no one would shoot. But have you ever see that movie Dr. Strangelove? It's an old classic. It's, Stanley Kubrick. It's all about a crazy, like how we end up in a crazy psychotic nuclear war. Back then, it did seem like people might push the button. And if one side pushed it, the other side would. It still sometimes seems that way. Putin threatens nuclear shit all the time. Fuck are you? Like, whatever. But I don't believe him. You don't think he's going to really do it. I don't think anybody's that stupid, are they? They'll start a war that they know will destroy the whole world. But then I look at these people who do stupid things like get in a road rage thing and pump a bullet through the head of the person in the other car. Okay, you're going to jail for a long time. And that's the least of it. I told you about the guy who got kicked out of the club, and I believe it was in LA. And then he brought a car, LA or Miami, it's a couple months ago. And then he got his car and he drove into 30 people outside the club to get even. Again, if you kill enough people, you kill a few people. You could just out of rage. You get mad at a club because somebody dissed your girl. You pull out a gun and shoot them. You're going to jail for a big part of your life. I mean, well, these states maybe not, depending on the city. You might be out in 5. But you know what I'm saying? Like, people will do really dumb things that you're like, why would you do that? I met people in San Clemente. I was doing some work there, some media work there, and I met with some of the lifers, and they weren't getting out. And I asked them about what they did, and they usually were very young, and they're like, I did something really stupid, and I'll pay for it for the rest of my life. And the people I did it to, they're dead, and the families I destroyed, they're going to forever suffer, and I destroyed my life and my family. So my point is, people do stupid things that make no sense. So maybe a world leader would be dumb enough to go, I don't care if it effing ruins the whole world and every one of us dies, me included, and my kids and my grandkids and everyone I know and love and everyone else anyone knows and loves, I'll hit the button. I don't think so. But that said, to go back to Kennedy, we were on the edge. Kennedy left in 2.5 years a legacy that's absolutely unbelievable. A legend, even though he wasn't the best president in the world. He did a lot of dumb things. He was an uber conservative Cold Warrior, and I think a bit of a racist, leading segregation style. Didn't drive himself out in front on the civil rights stuff, kind of got shoved and then assassinated. The war hawk, Vietnam, dug us in deeper, and his Secretary of War dug us in deeper, and Johnson finished the job and, left us in a horrible war that's also like iconic in its memory of like the dumbest war we ever fought, where a whole bunch of Americans went and died, thousands and thousands, in the jungles of Vietnam for a stupid, pointless war. There was 0 point, not a little point, 0 point. There was nothing changed. Anything changed. Communism didn't take over the world. Like, it wasn't going to take over the world in little Vietnam. We had to go in, protect against the commies. This commie thing cracks me up. Everyone's always about the commies. They're communists. They're communists. We still say it. It's like the thing will never quit, the communist thing. We're communists. They're communists. They're saying that back in the 20s when they were communists. And then the 50s, the McCarthy stuff where they went after all the people in Hollywood, the communists. And even now, they're communists. Okay, whatever. I think there's a lot of socialists out there, and I don't think the system of government works. There's not a whole lot of real communists, and there's not even any communism that really works that I can think of. I think technically China, I don't even know if there's a country I would say is actually fully communist as an economic system. I mean, China's a communist country, but it doesn't really run its economy on a fully communist notion. So there's like a privatized side of it, and you can't really privatize under it. Anyway, sidebar, deviation away. Thus the legends live forever hat. And thinking a lot about time, which I'll come back to, how time moves so quickly. And how I want everyone to take a moment and think how old you are. And like, we're going to take a trip at the end back down. We're going to regress. We're going to do the how much before and how much if you split down the middle of your life, like how many years behind it to how many to it. The older you are, the bigger that split. We'll come to that at the end. That'll be our fun finish for tonight. Okay, some things that are actually going on. The South Korean workers, this caught my eye. So, there's the Hyundai plant in Georgia, and they were building like a battery plant. And the immigration authorities, came in like their biggest raid ever and apprehended like 500 people, 475 people who were all illegally there, working illegally. And like over half of them they were mostly South Koreans. And became a big deal. One, because of how big it was. They just went into this big plant, just rounded everybody up. You're all here illegally. None of you are allowed to be here working. And it became a big deal. South Korea got involved. The president of South Korea, the ambassador came and, they worked out a deal and said, we'll bring a charter plane and we'll fly everybody back to Korea. No problem. We'll pick them all up, bring them all home. It brought up a lot of issues. And for me, the people say that they're going to go after everybody, and I'm going, they're starting to. They're starting to kind of go after people who are here. Now, I'm not saying all those Koreans had been here for like decades. When I said recently on my show, people who've built families and things here, a lot of those were people who were here on visas they'd overstayed. They were on temporary visas that they'd overstayed. they intentionally wanted them, the South Koreans wanted them working in the plant. One, because I think the Koreans, like everybody else, are tribal. Two, they wanted people who they were sure understood the tech of what they were building. And they've said that. And that's why we have, sort of a class of foreign visa workers who come in for jobs and skills we don't have. I'll say Trump did something interesting. He suggested, what if we let foreign workers come in and stay and train American workers in the skills? I thought that was an interesting idea. I mean, there are jobs that American workers don't have the skills for, but let's teach American workers, because there's about to be a lot of American workers without a job. And think about this for a second. We talk about AI, and everyone talks about AI is going to take away jobs, and it is. And it's a brand new world we're not going to understand fully what it's going to look like. It's certainly going to change how we operate, how we sex, education, the consumption of knowledge, what we do. It's already moving so fast. And sidebar, there may well be an AI bubble. A lot of you are crypto people. I mean, I think of AI as the sidecar to blockchain and crypto. And AI is driving the crypto, blockchain, Web3 world at an accelerated pace. And the leap to Internet 3.0, let's say one was in the late, early 90s, borderline late 80s, early 90s-ish. Two was at the end of the, let's say, I don't know, one was somewhere early 90s, mid 90s. Two was social media, 2004. Three we're hitting now. AI is driving that train big time. Woo. As it comes in and plows through everything. Whole lot of people not going to know what their future looks like. Whole lot of people not sure what their future looks like. Whole lot of people wondering, when am I going to have a job? The old model of people go to work at a job in an office at a factory, that was already dying, the death of the industrial age. And we talked about it. And Trump ran on like steel workers getting put out of jobs. AI is going to do that beyond steel workers. It's going to come. AI's coming after the white collar too. Like, sure, there'll be robots to do the automated tasks. We don't need humans. There'll be AI to do the brain tasks too. People are going to be like, what do I do now? It's making people anxious. Hold that thought, because we're gonna circle back, as Jen Psaki would have said, the former Biden press secretary, because I think it has to do with why there's so much pent-up rage and restlessness. People, A, have too much time, B, have too much information, C, are scared shitless about their future. And if you're not thinking about it, good for you. I don't even believe you. I worry about it, and I'm old. I'm older. I'm older than I look. I basically made down the most of the journey here. I'm gonna enjoy. I'm be okay. I also want to live to see some of what'll happen. My nieces and nephews will. My girlfriend will, because she's a lot younger than me. But I won't. I won't see it all. But I will still be affected by it. But I'm not 30-something years old, 25 to 35 to whatever, looking at my whole future, wondering what happens if it all changes and everything I thought I do and was trained to do and know how to do and was doing and was going to work to do becomes unimportant and irrelevant for me to do. And everybody else feels that way. That's creating something. That's creating a kooky in our society. I think it's partly why we're seeing the rise of the rise of random violence, because it is going up. You guys can't pretend it's not. It's not what it's always been. We're just seeing more of it. It's going up, 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 up. I lived in a bad neighborhood when I was a kid growing up in the 70s, and people, it was bad. I wasn't allowed to go out after dark. And even then, there were bar fights at the bar next door and this. And my dad got held up at gunpoint on our front steps once. It was a rough ass neighborhood. But it wasn't like now. Like now, you get held up. You get held up at, you get held up in Beverly Hills at the Gucci store. I mean, the whole Gucci store gets held up. It's crazy. And the randomness, the shooting people randomly, shooting because they blocked them in traffic, shooting because they said something mean to them, shooting because they bullied them, and so they went in and decided to take out all their classmates and spend the rest of their life in jail. Well, great way. You're 17. I'm going to go shoot up my classmates for bullying me, and I'll spend the next 65 years in jail, because the shooters, they don't ever get out. There are no short sentences for them. Worth thinking about, right? Okay, so some political stuff. If I'm jumping around too much for y'all, just tell me. But whatever, I'm going to jump around. That's what I do. So, the U.S. military shot down the ship in the South Caribbean, the ship, I call it ship, the skiff, the 30-foot skiff, with the Tren Aragua narco terrorists on board. And J.D. Vance came out and said, I kind of love J.D. Vance. I'll give J.D. Vance credit. He just he's a little Trump-like, he's more articulate in that way than Trump. Not as charismatic, few are, but has a way. J.D. has a way of just saying stuff and kind of just saying it. And I love it because he's a vice president who's not like just in the shadows. I mean, he is. He's the vice president. But he even said the other day, it's a weird role. It's up to the president whether he gives you something to do and makes you important or just sidelines you. Kamala Harris was sidelined and then given occasional things that she didn't do or want to do. Like, J.D. Vance is out there. Like, Trump's like, you go take care of it. You go talk to him. You go negotiate. But anyway, he said was posted somewhere on the socials, killing cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military. Somebody responded saying it was a war crime because you killed them, and they hadn't been convicted of anything. And Vance said, I don't give a shit what you call it. So first of all, back to my thing about everybody swearing. Everybody's using social and everybody's swearing. I remember back in 2015 when Trump was using socials a lot during the election and right after he got elected. And it was still weird. People were like, it's not appropriate for the president of the United States to be going off on socials about things. This is not how it's done. It was like the dignity of the office. Now everybody does. You can still say Trump's kooky with it and maybe goes, well, he's got a style of his own. But everybody does it now. Foreign leaders do it all the time. Every foreign leader does it. The Pope does it. Everybody communicates through socials. Everybody sends messages. Different voices, different ways of doing it. There's the Trump style, just like kind of fifth grader on steroids, but right to the point, just what he means. And you got to give him credit for being truthful. And you just got to acknowledge it fucking works. That's simple. Don't argue with success. Or, there's the more reserved style. Or there's the Gavin Newsom who's trying out both. I'm going to troll Trump. But everyone does it now. And everybody thought it was weird and not appropriate way to communicate. And it's like we do that with everything. Just the same way people thought in the late 90s that, people weren't going to use computers and purchase products online and people want to go to stores. And now everybody just buys from Amazon. I still like going to stores. But I'm saying, technology moves fast. It moves fast. It moves over us. It moves through us, and it changes us. And we all resist up front. So everyone's saying, like, it's not appropriate. So I am laughing at the fact that that they're all swearing now, though. So Vance says, I don't give a shit what you call it. Rand Paul, the senator from Kentucky, said, JD in socials also, JD, quote, I don't give a shit, unquote, and goes off to say how inappropriate it is to take this approach. Rand Paul's an interesting guy. And then he goes kind of intellectual. Did he ever read To Kill a Mockingbird? Did you ever read To Kill a Mockingbird? Did you ever see the movie? I never read the book. I did see the movie. I mean, I know the story. You're right. It's about, you can't, whatever, the Scopes monkey thing, and you can't, people being convicted before they've really done it. But, did he ever wonder what might happen if the accused were executed without trial representation? What a despicable and thoughtless sentiment it is to glorify killing someone without a trial. And I found myself thinking, it's true. I have a lot of agree. We have a system of justice. But our system of justice doesn't work half the time. I mean, I get it. You need a system of justice. But then you better fix the system of justice, because right now, many, many people, I'd say the majority, feel like the system of justice doesn't really work. The bad guys get away with it, walk back out on, no cash bails, do it again, get short sentences, come back in, come around. It's impossible to prove someone did it. Yeah, sometimes the criminal gets convicted. But even then, I'll look at sentences and things people get, and I'm like, what? They did that and they only got that? So some guy who helped chained this young woman up inside a storage container for months and months, raped her every day, kept her on chains, fed her scraps, humiliated, abused her, kept her in the dark like solitary confinement, tortured her, literally. And he got like 7 years or something. I'm like, what? Maybe, I don't even know. It's like, how is that guy even out? Like, I'm sorry, to me, that's so much worse than killing someone. I mean, he did kill her, just left her alive, and she had to deal with it for the rest of her life. I mean, glad she gets a chance, but wow, he gets another chance too. It's insane. So I kind of understand that, you know what? You're drug terrorists. You're bringing fentanyl into this country. You're killing off our communities. You're getting away with it. You're coming through the borders. You're using people that came through the borders illegally to transport it, to carry it. You're spilling it into cities. You're fuming it out there. It's affecting kids everywhere and adults. Kids in wealthy families. Kids who, you remember that kid whose mom was like a parenting superstar and her kid died of a fentanyl overdose. Like, but he didn't know he was taking fentanyl. It's like crazy. And you can't stop them? And it takes years to run them through the justice system? I don't know. I'm kind of like with J.D. Vance. Boom. Done. You're done. There's not really a question whether you're guilty. You're done. And I get it. Well, but what if there is? There is technically a question. Like I'm a rabbi on the one hand, on the other hand. I think I would have made a good rabbi. Dated a lot of Jewish women. The person I'm dating now is half Jewish. I would have made a good rabbi. Very fair. And I'm a Libra. But even the fairness in me is like, okay, but fair means justice needs to be done. And justice is often rarely, I'd say less and less done. Our jury system's a joke. You get 12 of your peers. No, you don't. You get 12 people who either weren't good enough to avoid going to jury duty or like somehow have a fascination for it. They're hardly your peers. Usually they don't represent you. You've had 2 opposing counsels knock out anybody who might have an opinion. Meanwhile, people have learned to lie. They kind of don't always tell the truth anymore. They lie to get on the jury or to get off the jury. And then those 12 people are given a bunch of archaic rules by a judge and said, well, you can't look at anything that happened here outside, so don't read your newspaper. He literally will say that, like, who reads a fucking newspaper? You know? Don't look at your phone? Because you're going to see shit on your phone. You don't have to go and look at it. Well, I have one eye. It's crazy. It's shadow. The one-eye shadow. You know, it's like, okay, don't listen to anything outside this room. And then it's carefully scripted and blocked and told, you know, you can't consider that line and you can't consider this. So juries, I've seen it, will acquit somebody for something that if you just did it in common sense and said, here's what happened, here's the evidence, here's their defense, watch the video, listen to both sides, you go, okay, they did it. Yeah. I mean, there's a ton of evidence there. They did it. Yeah. And it all stacks up. Yeah. Bad. Oh, wow. And I saw the victim and I see the fingerprints and I see the trail and the blood. It's all there. Okay. But they're told they can't consider something. Something has to be excluded. They can't look at the law this way. They have to follow this rule and not that rule. And they're not, these words matter. And juries will acquit people. And they'll say later, well, we kind of thought they did the thing, but based on the rules, based on the law that the judge told us, we couldn't convict. And vice versa. So I don't think we have, but that's the side that matters most because we're not seeing justice done. We're, you know, I hate to go comic book here, but there's a reason why the Batman comics, the Gotham City stuff, all of that kind of caught people, even back in the day when it was first, what's the 30s? The idea of rampant crime and criminals winning. And we saw it with gangs taking over. I mean, the gangs essentially, you know, where the mob was involved with the Chicago and New York governments, the big cities, involved, basically running them. You know, the cops were all bought off. And that's always been the case. Still's the case. This is the case in the 60s, the Godfather stuff, you know, the 70s. It was a case in, you know, in LA 15 years ago. And it's why still the case, you know, with the Rampart Division stuff. I mean, cops have always been bought off. Not all cops. I'm not knocking all cops. But I'm saying that idea that there's justice, when people don't feel there's justice, when they feel the crime wins, the bad wins, cheating is better, lying works, then they don't want to follow the rules, and those who do feel like they get screwed. And everyone feels like our government's lying, cheating, and stealing to us at all levels. So there makes people even more frustrated. It's like, I pay my taxes, but everybody else cheats. So first you create a culture of wanting to cheat and evade. But secondly, when you don't have justice, people are mad. They're upset. So I understand the kind of vigilante justice mindset, and I hate to say it, but it's coming back, which leads me to this. Trump posting on Truth Social an image of himself, an AI image, styled as Colonel Kilgore. Did you ever see Apocalypse Now? Another movie you got to go see. Robert Duvall's character is Colonel Kilgore. What a name. And, like, he's a nut. And Trump writes, I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. Chipocalypse Now. The famous line, one of them in Apocalypse Now, is Kilgore saying, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Napalm, which obviously, kills a lot of people. This shadow thing is driving me nuts. I don't think Trump's trolling. And, but it just cracked me up. It just cracked me up. And the Department of War comment, the whole calling it the Department of War. I said this before. I don't know. Maybe it's just honoring what it is. And then, Governor Pritzker went crazy. The president's threatening to go to war in American City. Donald's not a strong man. He's a scared man. Mayor Johnson, we must defend our democracy, protecting each other. Go protect Chicago. Trump sends in the National Guard. He sends in the National Guard. It's working in D.C. But I love Trump playing that game. And again, it's the vigilante justice mindset. It's the we're going to go do it. We're going to take no prisoners. We're not coming after you. We're coming after the bad people. If you live in Chicago, you're aware there's a whole lot of bad people getting away with it. There, again, other than the immigration stuff, but this is the crime thing. They're coming after the criminals. And the criminals know it, and most of the average citizens know it. He got in a big argument with an NBC reporter over it. And he called her darling and said, darling, you don't listen. This is why you're bad at your job. You don't listen. You never listen. It kind of cracks me up. Okay, not a lot of time left here, but I want to talk about another speech-related thing. Free speech in the UK. It's crazy. They're arresting people for stuff. So the latest one is an Irish comedian. I don't know who he is. He's based out of Arizona. His name's Graham Linhan. And he got off a plane in England, and they arrested him. 5 cops got him for supposedly criticizing transgender activists on social media, just for criticizing them. And Nigel Farage, the far right leader, who I think will become the prime minister of, this is just pushing the far right in of England, said England's collapsing into a really authoritarian situation. We saw it during COVID. When you silence speech, you risk authoritarianism. When you silence free speech, even if it's unpleasant speech. And what I want to say with this is John Cleese, who, if you ever saw Life of Brian or Monty Python, John Cleese is like 90 now. He was Life of Brian. And Life of Brian is a Monty Python satire from the 70s about a Jesus who's a woman, a Jesus who's a man who wants to be a woman and have babies. If you've never seen it, it's hilarious. There's the whole thing about the Catholic Church, and they're all singing, all the peasants, and they're like, if the sperm is wasted, God will be irate. So you can't spill the seed. You gotta, have to make the baby. Don't make the baby, God will be pissed. Literally, it's the most mocking thing you could do. Jesus is a woman, a man who wants to be a woman, a trans Jesus who wants to have 5 babies. And they did it to mock religion. They did it to mock how we look at things. They mocked everything, but they did it and made it fun. Of all people, John Cleese could come out and go, well, good for them, because you shouldn't be mocking trans people. Just mock the people who mock, it's not okay. He literally came out and said, what's wrong with people? He's like, first of all, it took 5 of them to do it. And then he said, meanwhile, people in Chelsea have learned not to waste their time reporting burglaries because the cops ain't coming. He's like, is this an intelligent use of resources? If you have the ultimate guy who made the ultimate trans statement, a Jesus who wants to be a woman and have babies, mocking it all, saying this is absurd. He's allowed to say whatever he fucking wants on the social media about trans people. We're in trouble, and England's in trouble. And they've been doing it. You know, they investigated that columnist a year ago, the Daily Telegraph columnist, for a racist post. They said because she criticized the police for not being willing to pose with what she called lovely, peaceful British friends of Israel, but then they were posing with Hamas supporters, and she said, "Look at that lot smiling with the Jew haters." For that, they investigate you to arrest you. It's crazy. So much more to talk about. Going to have to save it. Got a whole good thing on OnlyFans. I didn't get to my sports stuff. The Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Oh man, the ball incident with the Phillies fans. I'm going to leave it at that one. I got to get the Phillies fans in. The woman gets the ball. The dad runs over. It's the Philly Marlins game. Harrison Bader, the Phillies guy, hits a home run. It's in her area, but she can't get it. This dad's run over, grabs it, gets it. Everyone, people trying to get it, grabs it, runs back, gives it to his little kid. The lady is on his ass like a fucking black dude on a white stripper. Like, boom. Like, and she is up in his face swearing and in there, and she's got her blue hair, and he's just like, back off. And he says later, she was swearing at us. She was like, whatever. I just gave her the ball. I was just, go away. And he said, because I was going to do something. I had a choice. I was going to do something bad. I was going to react, and that'd be bad. So I showed my kid how you don't react. Good for him. I could have gone there. And that's what most people are doing. What I said started earlier. We're losing it. This lady lost it. Oh, so what? The guy got the ball, gave it to his little kid. You didn't get it. Too bad. No consolation prize. So it's a sporting event. I didn't catch the ball. You did. I dropped it. That's how it is. It's a competition. You didn't win. You didn't take it out of your hands. She just couldn't. And he gave the ball back to her and but said, again, that's where we go. And then she let it go. Good news for the kid is, first of all, the ESPN sportscasters called her a Karen. And then the team gave him all these things, the kid, and the guy, Harrison Bader, gave him a signed baseball bat. So the kid came out way ahead. He got a signed baseball bat, and the lady's been mocked on social media forever since it. Nobody knows who she is. The social media sleuths will find her. That's scary too. All right, guys, I'm out of time. So much more to talk about. Thanks for listening. Thanks for taking time, spending some of your Monday with me. I'm Rob Nelson. This is Rob Nelson Live. And remember, legends live forever. You could be one of them.
Meet Rob Nelson, talk show host.
Because you got the 70s thing going there. I got someone's underwear.
Robert Kennedy, thanks for taking a minute. Simple question.
Tucker,
It's good to see you. Listen,
you're a Bitcoin maximalist. You're Bitcoin forever.
I hate this central bank digital currency.
Hey, I don't have all the answers, but together, I know we can find them.
Down in competition in the ratings tab for late